Welcome to the Hero Hub podcast, where we explore the journeys of the industry innovators, trailblazers, and game changers who are shaping the future of vehicles and equipment. Whether you're here for cutting-edge tech, business strategies, or simple love of the ride, this is where you'll find the inspiration to fuel your journey.
Welcome to the Hero Hub podcast. I'm here with Daniel Gregg. Daniel, tell us a little about you.
We are out on the east side of Cleveland. We pull customers from a radius of 40 miles, and to the north, we're about 10 miles from the lakes. We pull customers from out in Pennsylvania as well, but there's several other dealerships around us. Our area is pretty affluent. We have a very good market, and we have both rural and suburban residential places around here. So we get a little bit of a mix of both. Farmers and people going out and going to ride parks and just recreational type riders as well. We've been around since 1996. So we'll be coming up on 30 years here next year. So we're pretty excited about that. We are second generation. So my father is the individual that started this back in 96. I grew up riding ATVs. We grew up on a farm, and we have trails back in our woods and a lot of big different mud pits that we would go into and around and riding through the fields and whatnot. And that's kind of how I got into power sports, was when I was younger, and riding around with friends and doing farm work is kind of how we got into it. And then he got the Polaris dealership when I was like, 11 years old. And that just heightened my curiosity and my interest in power sports. It's very competitive. It's become more and more competitive. The closest dealer we have, since we are not really multi-line, we do carry Hustler zero-turn mowers, and we also have KO youth ATVs and dirt bikes. But for the most part, on the ATV and side-by-side, we are just considered a single-line off-road dealer, which we're perfectly fine with. We love Polaris's product. Fit and fitment of the accessories is second to none, in my opinion. Our biggest competitor nearby is a Honda dealership that's within about 20 miles. And then we have several other Polaris dealerships that are within 50 and 60 miles.
What do you think has been the biggest challenge that you've seen in the industry since you've got into more of the business stuff?
People look at power sports and they're like, oh, you run a power sports dealership, that must be so fun. I'm like, yeah, it's not all fun and games. Like it is, like you were saying, super competitive. You have to really build an identity for your dealership. Luckily, I kind of came in and it was somewhat established before. I've been here almost 3 years now. I think that, we've built on a lot of our core foundation and the identity that we had coming in. But I think the toughest thing is really maintaining an identity and setting yourself apart from other dealers. For us, it's really been to connect personally with a customer. Like, you're not just another sale on our list. You're not just another number to us. We want to understand how you're going to use the machine, who's going to be riding it, how big your family is. We want to understand everything about your life and how you're going to use that off-road vehicle to either help you or have fun, get the most work done, and get the most out of your machine. In my opinion, customer service goes without saying. Like, you need to have top-notch customer service and be nice, courteous, helpful, all of those things, but we try to go the extra mile.
What keeps you going even when you're working longer hours than you were hoping?
Honestly, it is building that foundation and just setting goals for where I want us to be in the future. What, keeps you going every day and keeps you working hard and trying to improve processes, make things smoother for us as a business, which will reflect on the process for the customer.
What benefits have you seen from the 20 groups and from your Hero Hub experience so far that has kind of benefited the company?
I think it's great to get all of the different perspectives. You've got some people that, like, there's one guy in our 20 group that is just starting off. I completely understand where he comes from. He's got so many questions because that's kind of how I was when I started here. You want to try to build on things and make it better, but without trying to do too much. So I think like the different perspectives, you got other people that have been doing this their whole life and super experienced. There's a lot of knowledge just in the people alone, and then you get everyone together. It's just a large wealth of knowledge, different perspectives, different types of businesses. You have some multi-line, some single line, some tractor dealers. A lot of people are doing different things, have different customer bases, have different demographics, but in the end, we all have essentially the same goal, and it's to create a business that's going to help people and be profitable at the same time. So optimizing different segments of the business is where I've found the most input from the 20 group. I mean, it's not obviously going to go out and do it for you. You still have to put those plans in action, but giving you different ideas as to which fork in the road to take, kind of when you get to that point where you're like, do I want to go this way? Do I want to go that way? What's the best case scenario for our business? I think it really helps guide you through some of those tougher decisions.
How do you kind of balance personal life and work all together?
There's a balance.
How do you attempt to balance?
Just to draw some boundaries. I don't ever work on Sundays. I encourage all of our employees to take time off. That's why essentially it's use it or lose it for me. I want you to use it. It's not like, hey, if I don't take any days off throughout the year, I'm going to get a big payoff at the end of the year. It's not like that anymore for us. It's you either use it, take advantage of it, get your mind off of it for a little bit of time, spend time with your family, go out and have some fun. Like, I encourage everyone to do that just for their own peace of mind and mental health. So I try to make that a top priority for myself as well, but it does become difficult when you run into staffing issues and other things where you're just expected to kind of jump in, fill in. So it can be difficult, but in the end, you just have to kind of force yourself to do it.
If you could kind of go back to when you first started, is there any big piece of advice you'd give to yourself, or even that you'd give to somebody who's just starting a dealership and getting things rolling?
So my best advice would be kind of going back to the identity thing, but not really. I would say build a strong foundation before you start trying to tweak small little detailed things and processes within your company. Make sure that you have a strong foundation and a good core, just your infrastructure and kind of the way things are organized. Like, you want things to be able to flow from front to back and be able to move things efficiently, be able to put all of your employees in a specific, like, set them up for success, put them, at a desk that's conducive to what they're going to be accomplishing, or a workplace that's conducive to what they need to be doing throughout the day. And just make sure that you are kind of set up for success before you really start kind of tweaking the little things. So just making sure that you're set up properly, and make sure that you have a plan for the future as far as like where you're going with your identity, how that kind of affects pricing, and how you want your customers to really view your dealership. Like, you have to consider those things and build that into your plan for long-term success. But if you don't do it when you're setting the foundation and the groundwork, then you kind of get off track. So just make sure that you have a short-term plan to set a foundation that's in line with a long-term plan.
What keeps you motivated in the business year after year?
Obviously, there is the money side of it. I'm a very competitive person, so I do like to try to do better every single year, trying to build on what we've accomplished the last year and do better the next year. I'm always looking to beat last year. And if we do that and have that gradual growth, that is successful to me. Another thing is my family and, the people that are here that help me accomplish and help us accomplish as a team, the goals that we have. That keeps me going too, is to make sure that everyone here is kind of on board and that they're happy, healthy, and part of the team and feeling like they want to get to and work to the same goals that we all do. I mean, we have some of our employees that have been with us from the start. We don't have an overly large dealership, but that tribal knowledge that some of them bring to the table is just second to none. And when you get into those tough situations, having them here by your side and helping you accomplish small daily tasks really kind of translates more into long-term success.
If there's anything else that comes to your mind you'd love to share about your dealership, how you've seen success, or even just cool customer stories that you've seen over the years as you've been in your dealership.
I think like just some of the machines that leave here and the way that customers personalize them and kind of make it theirs. It's really cool to see and the look on their face when they come in and see it for the first time and start it up. They're just kind of blown away by how it looks, and they're like super excited to get it out. I had one guy that was over the top excited, like I could barely like keep him contained in our dealership. And he got it out. He was so excited to get it out on the trails. He got it out on the trails and he's like, I rolled it. I rolled it on its side. It wasn't like I tumbled it down a hill, but it did, roll over on its side. It's like it's his child. He's super concerned about it. He's like, I just want you guys to look at it again. I want you to go through it from top to bottom, make sure everything's good on it. I want it to be back to where it was before. And we're like, we got it in, and we're like, it's really just like two little things. It's not that big of a deal. We went through the whole thing though, and he was just so relieved when I told him like, oh, you didn't bend the frame or anything. You don't have to get an insurance claim to total it out or anything like that. We're okay, and we'll fix it up. There was an issue with the wheel and the half shaft, but in the end, it wasn't too bad. But that's another thing that kind of just keeps you going, is just every day is different. And you're always going to deal with somebody else that's going to use a machine a different way that you haven't even heard of before. You get into unique situations where you're like, yeah, this is new. And you kind of have to adapt and put yourself in their shoes and figure out what I would do if I was going to use it this way. What would I want to be on that machine? Which machine would I want? What's going to work best? So just kind of tailoring your sales process to customers' needs is an ever-changing target, so it's never the same. I think that one of the biggest challenges is on the service side as well. Just that's been a challenge for me. I have a little bit of a mechanical background, but not enough to say like I can go into a machine and fix it. I can look up parts and I know the names of parts and where they're located on a machine for the most part. And people ask some of those more technical questions. They tell us kind of how their machine is acting, and to diagnose it just based on a verbal conversation and figure out what might be causing it is extremely difficult. Typically, we have to get the machine in and take a look at it. That has become the biggest challenge, and not necessarily the biggest challenge. It's just super complex. The service side of things, just because you're not only dealing with a customer, trying to understand their needs and fulfill their needs, but you're also looking at a hunk of metal and figuring out that whole side of things, ordering parts, trying to logistically plan out all the timing of everything. It can be very difficult. In the end, just having a calendar service schedule where you build in some buffer time is always smart. My philosophy is always to under-promise and over-deliver rather than the opposite. That's going to set you up for success with the customer. I mean, nobody really likes to hear the price. Everybody thinks that the price is ridiculous. Nobody's happy with their trade-in value. Like, everybody wants more, but you have to be realistic right off the bat in order for them to not get upset in the future. That's been an important piece of our philosophy, is just making sure that we are realistic, if not under promising. Setting expectations appropriately in the short term will set you up to be in a better place in the long term.
Well, thank you so much to our guests for joining us today, and a huge thank you to our listeners for tuning in. I hope you found today's conversation insightful and inspiring. If you enjoyed the show, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with others in the powersports industry. We're excited to see you at the next one.